you, and I'll start with you, Chairs. Players that have missed a year that have played maybe for Spurs, and you think back on that. Does anybody come to mind, and how quickly, or did they even ever reacclimate into the squad?
It's interesting because I'm looking at the notifications, and obviously Matthew's got a bunch of questions for us, but I'm trying to rack my brains on someone who was out of the side for as long as Lamela has been. And we could arguably go back to his first time out of the team when he was out for a year, and he came back and he did well. Mm-hmm. And obviously he broke down very early in last season, and we keep thinking he's coming back. We thought he might be on the bench for the West Ham game, and we still see him training. But obviously Pochers has felt he's not ready. But gosh, I can't think of anyone over my time frame of following Spurs that's been out for that long. It's going to take a while. I mean, look at Danny Rose. We talked about it today, right? He's gradually getting better game by game, but he's getting subbed off because his fitness is not where it was at the height of last season before he got injured, and his touch is still not the same as it was.
He had a couple, 3-4 first touches today.
Right. So you have to think that Davis is still the first choice left back, but I think if he gets back into the team, he's going to be coming off the bench for at least a month until he is ready to start and either take Dele or Son starting position. And it could be early spring before we see Lamela at the best if he doesn't have some kind of breakdown.
Yeah, that's true. This is an interesting one. Matt also asks, is our medical staff in complete shambles, or do Spurs just have the worst luck with injuries right now, more than I do at the craps tables? I want to jump on this one a little bit. We've been, up until last year, rather fortunate with injuries. We see a lot of clubs, Arsenal included, that suffer from major injuries, and 6, 7, 8, 9 at a time. Everton comes to mind here lately with some of the injuries that they are sustaining. I think it's a lot to do with how hard we play and what he demands of those players. You're gonna suffer those injuries. I think it's why he demands and is asking for Levy to help him open up the coffers a little bit and expand the squad. Alderweireld going out. This is the third year in a row where Kane has missed time. Second year in a row for Toby. Second year in a row possibly for Winks to be suffering something. These injuries, though, when you look at them, other than Toby's, are impact injuries. We're seeing a toe that's dug into the ground and you get the ankle rolled over, or somebody gets run into and something happens in a tangle of legs, whereas Toby's was a hamstring, and listen, that happens. So, Sam, when I'm going to direct this towards you and deflect towards you, when you start seeing a rash of injuries, do you really start questioning the medical staff, or is it just part of the game? And it's a lot of luck that's involved.
Part of the game. I think this is the best medical staff we've ever had. I think in order to really grade this medical staff, I think you have to look at their body of work since Pochettino has been here, and they've done really a remarkable job. They're the most scientific group of guys I think we've had in that role. I think it's part of the game, and one of the reasons why you simply have to have a deep squad, especially to be able to compete on all fronts. So no, injuries are just simply part of the game. Yeah. I mean, it's just, think about the just sheer number of fixtures that teams play. I mean, go look at Liverpool, for example. I mean, all the big clubs are suffering from injuries. Just part of the game.
Yeah, I agree. So let's see. Pete Hain is asking, and I'll start with you, Simon, and Tim, you're next. So be ready. What's your favorite David Bowie song?
Well, I don't know where this came from. I think because Pete was at an event where a couple of the guys from Spiders from Mars were there. And anyone who knows me and the podcast, and when Bowie passed away last year, it was a very sad day. He's very instrumental in my musical background, and still is. So Ziggy Stardust was very instrumental. I remember my uncle bringing it home, going, "Holy crap, what is this? This is awesome!" And so 70s, 80s Bowie for me was just everyday life. But Moon Age Daydream of Ziggy Stardust, Teenage Wildlife of Ashes to Ashes, and Heroes. You can't go wrong with Heroes. No, I know that's 3, but that's what I replied to Pete. So,
what about you, Tim?
You being serious right now?
I just want to hear you say for the 5th week in a row on a question.
What has become of this podcast?
Oh, just give us an answer, Sam.
China Girl.
Oh, God.
I can't even tell you a single one. I'm going to be honest.
But your wife can, so that counts. You're right.
Yeah, she probably can. I can't say a single one. I listened to that hoodlum rap music.
You certainly are a hoodlum. Ken?
A hoodlum.
Rebel, right? You said Rebel.
I did. Rebel, but Ziggy Stardust is my favorite.
Yeah. That is his, I want to say it's his best album, and he never did anything to replicate that, but it's one of the best albums ever.
It is.
Hey, I'll tell you one of my favorite albums.
Anyway, moving on to Crystal Palace.
Ready to Die by the Notorious B.I.G.
Oh, Jesus.
God, Tim, you're so gangster.
It's a great album.
No, it's not.
It is.
It is. No, it really is.
But we're here to talk about Spurs and Crystal Palace.
We are. Let's do it.
Yeah, we're not going to be able to talk about Arsenal, or at least you guys try to get me to not talk about Arsenal. We're definitely not talking about the Notorious B.I.G.
We're talking about the Woolwich.
So, yeah, we are talking about the Woolwich later. 1-0 win over Crystal Palace at Wembley. The lineup came out about an hour before the match, and I think everybody's jaw dropped, and maybe he had a couple of accidents on ways to the pub. No Lloris, no Vorm, who pulled up injured, and Gazzaniga so much stated that he actually talked to Michel earlier the day before, and he was not well at all. So he was mentally preparing himself for the possibility, but he did not find out until that morning when he arrived at the ground. Dele Alli also not in the starting lineup, so a very interesting lineup. Did not change the formation. Proud of that. Played 3 at the back as we have been. Timmy, your thoughts on the lineup itself and how things were executed?
I mean, I think it's a lot like we went in that first match against Real Madrid. You know, with the injuries, you put Winks there as kind of the lone center defensive mid, and he held his own until, he went off with the injury. And that's an interesting thing to talk about is he went off so early at the end of the first half. And, you had to change it up all over again. But, Dier had an amazing match. He slotted in there as the center back of that back 3. I think he had 2, maybe 3 last man tackles on Zaha in our own box. I mean, he had an amazing match. For me, if you're asking a man of the match against Palace, it's either between Dier or Gazzaniga.
Yeah, I thought Dier and Sanchez together were absolutely incredible today. Simon, I want to just deflect a little bit towards you. Sam, you too. I want you to follow up because I want you to think back in history. And I look at Sonny, scored the goal, obviously, for the 1-0 win. But is he not the most frustrating player offensively to watch? There were times when you look at what he is doing with the ball to where 3, if not 4 more opportunities presented themselves to him, whether to either score or assist, and he completely bottled every single one of those opportunities other than the goal. Can you remember back in time, Simon, another player that comes to mind, and for me it's maybe Jermaine Genius, that you will frustrate you for 88 minutes, but may have that one single moment that lets you forgive all of it?
Yeah, I don't want to compare him to Genius. He was very frustrating today. Very. It was a great strike. Hit it one time, and it was nicely hit. But I'm telling you, that next effort when he was in on goal, he opened his body up and then went near side. And Vertonghen was just pissed off. And that just goes to show the frustrating side of Sonny. He chips in. I mean, what was it? How many goals did he score for us last season over the course of the season? 2021. Granted, a lot in the Cups. I think this was he just set the record for the highest scoring Asian in the Premier League today. But his touch let him down. It was very, very frustrating. For me, he doesn't get man of the match purely because of the rest of his play, which was, I don't know if his concentration wasn't good, he wasn't fit, carrying an injury. But other than striking that one effort, it was very disappointing. I mean, I think most Spurs fans will remember Sergei Rebrov for his inability to be a success at Spurs. And we've had a run of ineffective strikers. And it wasn't on the rundown, but I wanted to touch on we can segue into this now, into the Llorente versus Janssen story. We've gone 12 games now with Llorente not even getting a whiff of goal. At least Janssen last season had chipped in with a couple of goals. Changing gears, if you want to go that route.
I mean, if you're on the pitch when there's a penalty.
But I think he'd scored from open play as well at that point, hadn't he?
No, he had one goal, and I think it was I think at the time it was the Capital One Cup when we went up against
Liverpool.
No, it was before that. Who did we draw the
No. Gillingham. That was penalty, wasn't it? Yeah, because Eriksson gave him the penalty.
I don't think you can look at Janssen and put him in against Real Madrid at the Bernabeu and expect him to do what Llorente did.
Just a question, fellas. Just a question, not an opinion.
No, I saw. I think it was Barty from the Fighting Cock. He put out. I
think that's maybe what I saw. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a poll. Him, Soldado, and Llorente. And for the life of me, I almost retweeted it because I would put Soldado out of there for sure. But between the two, I don't know. I mean, at least Janssen was trying. At least I felt like he was more involved in play. I don't disagree with what Tim said in his effectiveness at Madrid. I'll go back to Sonny real quick. I just felt like the spirit of Andros Townsend creeped into him today. Like really, really brainless things that he did. I mean, heavy first touches, that's one thing, bad game, but boy, just making really, really poor decisions. I mean, a lovely strike. He's a great striker of the ball, and I'm glad for what he did.
That may well be the analogy and the metaphor that we're looking for. He was Townsend today.
He was. Yeah. He really was. I mean, going like what you said. He goes. He just does like Andros would do things like a left-footed player that for some reason would be lulled into thinking that he was right-footed at times, like stupid shit like that. And
he had that second breakaway. He didn't even get to the box. He got tackled and lost the ball.
Look, which, by the way, thank God Andros Townsend's football brain has not developed because, frankly, he should have scored at the end there.
Speaking of should have scored
or crossed the ball. And Zaha.
I was going to say, speaking of should have scored, now, Sam, you and I have been touting up Zaha as a possible answer to our left side woes. Speaking of Son. Today, man, by the time the match ended, I think Chairs turned to me and said, I think we could get him on a free in the summer if we wanted to.
But you know what, though? But he brought the absolute best out of Eric Dyer. He has nothing. He has nothing around. There's a big debate about him today, and I get it. He was ineffective, but he's asked to do too much. I mean, in that system, he's required to be the star. He wouldn't be required to be the star. He'd play a very important role, but I certainly can appreciate what some people say. Well, look, we already have a player like him. We have a player like Sonny. I don't know that you really have a threatening wide man in Son like I think Zaha would be.
Yeah.
But I think he's very expensive. The ship has sailed, and it's probably not even worth debating. I'd like to have that. I'd like to have a player. I'd like to have a player with his qualities. Look, he comes back and he stole the ball from Sonny today.
Yep.
He comes back, and people gave him shit for it, but it was 1-on-3. He had nothing. He had nobody with him. I don't know. I think that look, if Mauricio Pochettino can make Kieran Trippier here school Marcelo in the Bernabeu, I'm fine with him taking on Zaha and making a player out of him. I think he could be, but maybe the ship has sailed.
Well, he didn't play Marcelo at the Bernabeu.
He played Trippier, dude. He outplayed Marcelo. At the Bernabeu.
I'm just being a dick. That was Wembley.
Yeah, I fucking hate you. Shut up.
So Ken.
Yes.
I think we had some dialogue at the pub about Aurier today.
Yeah.
Liability or one for the future?
I think the potential is astronomical. He's almost
Astronomical.
he's almost a luxurious liability, right? Because when he gets it right, it's perfect.